Hi, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Cuban Assassin Podcast. I'm your host, Richie Acevedo, also known as the Cuban Assassin. Last time on the Cuban Assassin Podcast, I talked about me working for Bo Miller up in Columbus, Ohio for his IWA, International Wrestling Alliance. But back home in Oak Hill, West Virginia, I was working at a gas station convenience store called Pit Row on Jones Avenue. Now, I'll be meeting a lot of different people coming into Pit Row and Jones Avenue, which I'll get to later on in the podcast series. But one Sunday afternoon, I ventured over to Beaver, West Virginia, and I went to meet a guy, which is none other than the West Virginia wrestling legend himself, Scotty McKeever, who was running shows over in Beaver, West Virginia on Sunday afternoons. So I will alternate working for Scotty McKeever on Sundays and Bull Miller's IWA Back Alley Brawl up in Columbus, Ohio. I will alternate between the two. But while I was working one day back in Oak Hill, West Virginia at Pit Row, there would be a guy to come in that I would recognize, which was none other than a local newspaper sports writer for the Register Herald newspaper, which is none other than Gary Fauber, who wrote the Figure 4 report for every Sunday edition on the Monday Night Wars. And I asked him, why don't you write about local pro wrestling? And he said, I didn't know there was any. I said, yeah, I'm a local pro wrestler. So the following Sunday, there was an article about me in local pro wrestling in the Register Herald newspaper written by Gary Fauber and his Figure 4 report. And next thing you know, everybody knew who I was all of a sudden back home in Oak Hill, West Virginia. I'm going to be doing the color commentary and the play-by-play action in this home video collection of my matches here. It's taking place for CWA, Cleveland Wrestling Alliance, up in Toledo, Ohio, where it's me as the Cuban Commando, and I'm going against Casey Stryker, which is a member of Power Team USA from ASWF, All-Star Wrestling Federation. And this is the guy I had defeated to become the ASWF United States Light Heavyweight Wrestling Champion. And as you can see right here, I'm hollering at the fans and getting this match ready to get started as the official is checking KC Stryker here. And now he's telling me to stay in my corner. I'm telling the fans to shut their stinking mouths. And this was for GMO. GMO had the CWA, the Cleveland Wrestling Alliance. And this is at the Army National Guard. There's a fan taunting me, and I'm taunting him back. And sitting there, yelling back and forth at this guy. I'm not really sure what this guy's going to do, but then Casey Stryker does something smart by getting me distracted away from the fans so nothing happens there, which is a very smart move. Then I tell him to raise my hand for a disqualification, and he says no. Very awkward for an official or referee to be wearing shorts, but during this time, I met a friend that while I was working at Pit Row in Oak Hill, West Virginia. That's where I was working a job there, even though I was getting paid pretty good doing all these shows, which is doing well. But the Pit Row, I just always kept a job. I always made sure I kept a job because I didn't want to rely upon wrestling alone, because there would be days where months I would have a lot of bookings, but then there would be months I only had a few bookings. So even though I was getting good paydays, but if the bookings aren't consistent, then you got to make sure you have income to pay the bills. As you see right now, I did a hip toss onto Casey Stryker right there, and now I'm taunting the fans. And I'm really enjoying myself during this time because I'm getting booked everywhere. And of course, back home, they're writing about me in the newspaper. There's an arm drag takedown by me against Casey Stryker. Now listen, Casey Stryker is a veteran himself, and I'm going to tell you, he's a very tough guy. Don't judge him by being tall and skinny. He's actually in great shape, good physical condition. He's very strong. He scoop slams me there. He does an arm drag takedown onto me right there. Another arm drag takedown on me again there, and then I'm grabbing him, he's grabbing me, and then he takes me to the rope here, and that's how strong Casey is. He's a very strong guy, I'm telling you. No jokes, nothing aside. Now I give him a close slap to the face, and then he chases me out of the ring, and the official backs him off there, and the fan's still taunting me there. I always had a good way. Oh, there he goes, a baseball slide into me and knocks me down on the floor. and slams my head into the ring apron there. He shoots me off into the ring post corner there. These are more of heel-like maneuvers instead of a baby face, but I did beat him for the ASWF United States Light Heavyweight Championship title, and we've had a consistent feud between several promotions here. I'm begging for him, and I toss him into through the ropes, but he went underneath the ropes there. It's been a while since I've seen this match. Now, I give him a drop kick off the side of the ring apron. Well, that concrete floor is pretty hard. I will have to admit the concrete is pretty solid. I take his head to the ring apron, and I shove him into the ring here, and now I'm climbing back up, and the fans are taunting me. But I always had a natural act to get heat from people. I've always had, ever since I was a little kid, my friends, I would always be the bad guy or the monster. My friends would always say I was the best bad guy or monster they ever had. I came off the top rope with an elbow drop onto the head of Casey Stryker there. Wait a minute, I got that mistake. I thought this was Toledo, Ohio. This is Norwalk, Ohio. I just saw the fan sign, and now I remember, because CWA, Cleveland Wrestling Alliance, is based in Cleveland, Ohio, but they wrestled in Toledo and also Norwalk, and this is in Norwalk, Ohio. So I stand corrected. Thank goodness I saw that sign at ringside. I just gave him a chin drop there, and he's underneath the ropes here. And now I'm going to take advantage of this. I give him a slingshot to the bottom of the rope there. Now I'm dragging him into the center of the ring. And now I'm going to start working and give him an ankle twist here and keeping his leg position. This is a very old school move, a move you don't even see that's done today at all. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of things you don't see done today. Like here, I'm working on the knee and the left leg of Casey Stryker, and I'm biting him right there, and the official is asking if he wants to submit, and he says no. And I'm really working that knee there. You don't see anybody today trying to work a body part or actually trying to do any type of submission, real submission wrestling holds or anything like that. Of course, a lot of the wrestling today is choreographed, and the guy just drop kicked him in his knee there. In the old days of wrestling, the catch as catch can style of wrestling, it was you just had to do things in the ring, and you had to work together in the ring, and you had to improv a lot. So we try to be as believable as possible. And like I always tell people, our job isn't trying to convince people that pro wrestling's real, or well, look at there, I missed that leg there. And now he comes up behind me and gives me an atomic drop on the rump there. An inverted atomic drop, and now I'm feeling it from both ends. I'm making sure everything's okay with the family jewels there. Irish whip off the ropes, and he gives me a clothesline. And then he goes down for a cover. It's kind of a lazy cover, and I kick out. But like I was saying a little bit earlier, our job isn't trying to make people forget that, try to convince people that wrestling's real. Our job is to help them forget that it's not. And I don't, wrestling's more real than what people think it is. I mean, it's the physicality, all of it, it's very real. Now he does he comes off the top rope and he does a double axe handle down to my head instead of an elbow drop. I think it was more close to the forearm. He only gets the count of two as I kick out right there. I always enjoyed wrestling Casey Stryker. A lot of respect for the guy. Now he's got somewhat of a sleeper hold put onto me here. And now I'm trying to get myself out of this hold here as officials checking me. And I got my foot in the bottom rope there, as you can't see in this view from the camera. So he had to let go. He had a count of 5 to let go. Now he gives me an open hand slap, and he slaps me again. Then he gives me a third one. I did the Three Stooges turn around there, and then I went down on the third slap. And he's trying to make up his mind on what he's going to do. And this is his submission hold here. This is his finisher, his submission hold, but I get the rope, and he has me too close to the rope, and I grab the ropes, and now he has a count of 5 to break the hold, which he does, or he'll be disqualified. And now he's getting angry at the official, and now I cut him off with the clothesline. Covering 1, 2, 3, and the match is over, and I win. I actually had a foreign object, and I hit him with the foreign object, and I win the match. The Cuban Commando wins the match over KC Striker. Now, since we didn't have any local television for Scotty McKeever, we told our stories in the newspaper through Gary Fauber's Figure 4 report in the Register Herald newspaper. And the Register Herald newspaper had a large area, and everybody would know who we were and would come out to the Sunday afternoon shows in Beaver, West Virginia. So we're getting a lot of free press from the Register Herald newspaper and Gary Fauber. At the same time, I would win the USWA, the United States Wrestling Alliance, North American Light Heavyweight Wrestling Championship up in Ashtabula, Ohio, by beating a guy that was called Blade. So as the new USWA North American Light Heavyweight Wrestling Champion, I had to defend that championship title to any and all comers, which that's what I was doing at the time. I'm going to be doing the play-by-play color commentary again for this special home video of my personal collection. It's me as the Cuban Commando, and I'm the USWA North American Light Heavyweight Wrestling Champion, and I'm defending it against none other than the Spanish Fly, Angel Torres. And Angel Torres would become a good personal friend of mine for many, many years, and one of my partners in Mountain Man Productions itself to help produce some short film stories and other films that we make together. And here in the USWA, the United States Wrestling Alliance, not to be confused with the USWA that was from joint between CWA and the World Class Championship Wrestling area merger. And as you can see, I'm wearing the USWA North American Light Heavyweight Wrestling Championship title belt there. And this is in Ashtabula, Ohio. And USWA would run in Ashtabula, Ohio, surrounding areas, and part of Cleveland, Ohio as well. Now I'm going to mention that the referee of this match is Zach T. Maniac, or actually his real name is Zach Worthington, a personal friend of mine as well. And I will know him until his dying day, as well as the West Virginia wrestling legend himself, Scotty McKeever, as well. And Zach would travel with me and one of my good friends, John Paul Shreves, who was also no longer with us, and John Paul Shreves would drive us up to all these shows, and I would meet him where I was working at Pit Row in Oak Hill, West Virginia, and we become really good friends. So he would drive me, and I'd pay for all the trans and then and food and motel, which was part of my deal in the payment because they paid me so well, so I just used some of that money for that. And I'm just enjoying myself here and making all these good friends and everything and going around. And here I wasn't just seeing the same locker room everywhere I went. As you can see, Zach holding up that championship title belt, showing it off because it is on the line here in this matchup. And I was just having a great time. And this is at the Army National Guard building in Ashtabula, Ohio. And they would eventually go to a flea market later on, after running a few shows here. And the main event on this show happened to be Jimmy Superfly Snuka and Greg the Hammer Valentine. So they were the main event on this show. I'm backing off from the lockup here, teasing the Spanish Fly, Angel Torres. And the Spanish Fly loved Jimmy Superfly Snuka. This was one of his favorite moments here, but he had already met Jimmy Superfly Snuka before. And I stayed at a motel down the road here in Ashtabula, Ohio. And the funny thing is, one time I was in pit road working in Oak Hill, West Virginia, and the guy came in. He goes, "Hey, I know who you are. You're the Cuban Commando." And I thought he knew me from coming to the shows over in Beaver, West Virginia at the Bargain Park for Scotty McKeever, which they call that AWA, Appalachian Wrestling Alliance. And you see here, Zach had to pull off Spanish Fly on me, but I was actually holding his hand back there, and I'm complaining to him, saying he pulled my hair, which, as you can see, I have a buzz cut, not much hair for him to pull. And now we're working the fans. I always enjoy wrestling Spanish Fly, Angel Torres. He never got to beat me. That's the only thing I regretted in my wrestling career. I never got to give him one win, and they never would let me give him a win, and I don't understand that. Now I'm doing a schoolboy takeover takedown. That's a fireman's carry takedown. And I get my tongue twisted here. But that's a fireman carry takedown I did on the Spanish Fly Angel Torres. And as you see, I'm trying to do a little showboating here and killing some time here before I go to lock up with Spanish Fly Angel Torres. And I'm going to tell you, Doug Zooks was the promoter for USWA. As you see, I did a scoop body slam on the Spanish Fly. And afterwards, he would have a good get-together at a campsite because he had a camper, and he would have all this food for free. He would have beer at the shows, but it would say Cuban only, and I never understood that because I can't drink a whole keg of beer. We have a whole keg of beer. I can't drink a whole keg of beer. It's crazy. And I told him to share it with the rest of the boys after the show. But Doug Zoots did take care of me, as well as a lot of the promoters up in Ohio, a lot of promoters everywhere, even the ones in Michigan. And I mean, you're going to see a lot more of that too. Now I took his arm and did a European hip toss onto him right there. Now I'm working his arm here. I kind of jerked it really hard. Now, Angel Torres, the Spanish Fly, was a professional boxer at one time, and a martial artist too. So I mean, he's a real deal too. But you know, he does very good by listening and working with you in the ring. And now I kind of did a backdrop on him in a way there, and I'm doing this 3-leg drop thing and roll back on my feet that I used to be able to do. I was real athletic back then. And then I just give him a big old elbow drop. And I go for a cover. And only count of 2 as Spanish Fly Angel Torres kicks out right there. I take him off to the ropes, Irish whip off the ropes, drop down, he steps over. He rolls over my back. He ducks my clothesline. I duck his clothesline. He ducks my clothesline. And he picks me up in a scoop slam here. And getting the fans to get behind him and rally behind him. Now listen, Angel Torres is still in great shape to this very day. And he's still a skinny man. He gained just a little bit of weight. Now I'm walking away here like I'm getting ready to leave, like I'm insulted. And Zach's doing the standard 10 count outside the ring. Zach was a great friend, and I really do miss him. I miss John Paul Shreves too, and everything. But I'll talk more about John Paul Shreves later on in an upcoming episode of the Cuban Assassin podcast. I'm begging right now for mercy. He's asking the fans. I jump in from behind, take advantage, and I throw his head into the top turnbuckle here, and I'm not stopping. And then the referee, Zach, is pulling me off. And I shove him, he shoves me back, and he's warning me not to touch him. He'll disqualify me, and I'm begging him and pleading with him, saying I'm sorry. And, you know, and Doug Zooks was, you know, he loved wrestling. I can tell you that. And there, I went to shoot him out of the corner. He reversed it and gives me a backdrop there. He comes over here, and now he's just getting the fans to get rallied behind him. He should be pinning me right now. And he's picking me up. He should have pinned me right there. takes me off the rope, Irish whip off the ropes. Big karate kick right there. And side kick there, and he comes off the ropes now and gives me a forearm to the throat. Goes for a cover. 1, 2, and I kick out. He only gets a count of 2 right there. And now he's complaining with Zach, the official of the match, and now I'm going to the corner here, and I'm begging him. And then I'm trying to get myself up here, and he grabs my feet here, pulls me off the ropes, and then I land in the back of my neck there. And now Angel Torres is working on me, gives me a snap nair. Right there, that's a snap nair. Something you don't see anymore. Irish whip off the ropes. Gives me a leg lariat there, goes for a cover. 1, 2, and only a count of 2 as I kick out again, and now I go out of the ring for a quick powder. Yeah, I was having the time of my life, man. I was getting booked. I'm back into wrestling again. The only thing I wanted to be known as was just being a professional wrestler. At this time, you have the World Wrestling Federation, the Attitude Era going on, the WWF, with Stone Cold Steve Austin on top, and then the other, it was WCW World Championship Wrestling with Hollywood Hogan and the NWO. He did a slingshot me into the ring there. Now he's getting on to me. He's taking me, Irish whip off the ropes, and he does a flying forearm onto me, goes for a cover. 1, 2, and I kick out. Only a count of 2 again. And I get onto Angel Torres, the Spanish Fly in the corner. I'm giving him boots. Now I'm choking him here. And believe me, I can't do that no more today, that kind of stretch. So, it's fun being young, I can say that. And I really had a good time being a professional wrestler. I pick him up. I get him up for the razor's edge. And then I'm sitting here taunting the fans. And then I go outside the ring, and I'm getting ready to climb to the top here, to the top rope. As you can see right here, the official's giving me the standard 5 count to get off the top rope. I come off, elbow drop, and I get it landed right on Angel Torres, the Spanish Fly right there. And now I'm taunting everybody. Now I'm choking Angel Torres right here. And the official, Zach, T-Maniac, is giving me the standard 5 count to break it. And I'm choking him again. And I'm doing it again. Now, he could have disqualified me there after a couple attempts, and then I may not stop choking him, but all of a sudden I'm climbing up to the top. Angel Torres hits me in the gut here and body slams me off the top rope. He picks me up, takes me off the rope, Irish whip off the ropes. Big standing drop kick on me. Angel Torres, the Spanish Fly, goes for a cover. Only a count of 2, and I kick out again right there. Now I fall back into the corner here, and then Spanish Fly Angel Torres is getting on me, giving me some boots there. The official, Zach, is telling him to watch the boot, get me out of the corner. And he goes to shoot me. I reverse him and double whip him into Zach, into the corner, and knock the official, Zach T-Maniac, down. As you can see him, he's knocked down. I got my foreign object in my hand here, and I cold cock Angel Torres and knock him out straight flat right there. And I grab the official, getting him come to. I go to cover. He counts 1, 2, 3, and I win, and I retain the USWA North American Light Heavyweight Wrestling Championship. And the winner of the match is me, the Cuban Commando, over the Spanish Fly, Angel Torres. And you can see I'm taking advantage of Spanish Fly Angel Torres by beating him with the championship title belt here, and Zach's trying to get me off of him. I shoot him off the ropes here. He ducks my clothesline. He comes off, gives me a flying lariat, and I powder out of the ring real quick. And I grab my championship belt, and I'm off to the locker room. Now, I was enjoying all this free press being written about me in the Wrestler Hero newspaper by Gary Fauber on his Figure 4 report. And also, myself and Colonel Payne will win the American Championship Wrestling, the ACW World Tag Team Championship up in Cleveland, Ohio. And then one day, all of a sudden, I find out I'm being charged for contributing to a delinquency of a minor. Next time on the Cuban Assassin Podcast, we'll discuss about me being charged with contributing to a delinquency of a minor, and we'll also talk about meeting April, the woman who I will end up marrying and the mother of my 2 children, and getting the call. The Cuban Assassin Podcast is produced, written, edited, and directed by me, Richie Acevedo at Mountain Man Productions. Special thanks goes to Ben Hilton for the opening and closing demographics of today's podcast. Special thanks goes to Roger Roseberry and to Angel Miguel Torres for the video matches shown on today's podcast. Special thanks goes to my late mother, Yvonne Dempsey, for the photographs used on today's podcast. And special thanks goes to the Register Herald newspaper and to Gary Fauber for the newspaper articles and clippings used in today's podcast. You can reach me at mountainmanproductions@outlook.com. That's capital N for Mountain, capital N for Man, and capital P for Productions at outlook.com. Or you can leave a comment. If you like these series and podcast series, please share and like. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you next time right here on the Cuban Assassin Podcast.